So once you really understand the audience, the next step we think about is to create the original content via blog. And I have to tell you that when I go in and talk to companies and executives about blogging, a lot of them roll their eyes at me, frankly. They think it's a waste of time. They think blogging is associated with teen angst or sharing recipes or narcissistic, and all those things can be true, let's be honest. There are many blogs out there that are for entertainment only, might only be of interest to one person, but the argument I make to executives is that if you look at the numbers, sites that blog get more leads, sites that have influential and informative content allow a user to get closer to the brand, not distanced by something that's interrupting them. We'll talk a little bit about how that process works. And you think about the lead generation and what the data says about the idea that consumers really trust companies that have blogs and trust blog content that's informative and influential, really helps you to get closer as a brand. We have a blog ourselves, and we use it to answer common questions. It's a very easy way to write for your blog, is to think about the questions that your customers ask you the most, or your prospects ask you the most. So you'll see at the top, how do I build search traffic to my website? I get that question every other day. And so answering it is helpful to connecting. So then the question is, if you get them past the rolling of the eyes, if I get a client past that, then the question is, well, what am I going to write about? What should I be blogging about? What should I be promoting and posting, and how often should I be doing that? And to me, the most simple answer to this is to think about the overlap between two circles. You think about what's happening in your business, and then what do your customers really care about? What truly matters to them? Wherever there's overlap, there is really what you should be blogging about. And it's very easy to write about things that you see every day inside a business, but if there's no overlap with things that really matter to the audience that we now really, really and deeply understand, then the content is for naught. So there are a couple of do's and don'ts, and as you think about the next time you go to a corporate blog, think about, which of these you agree with or don't agree with, or see if you identify any of them. Write about industry changes or a problem that you've solved. Third-party endorsements, maybe a testimonial or a new product that you're coming out with, or a prediction. Predict something in your industry based upon what you see. All these things can be helpful. On the other side, we see a lot of is, okay, what am I going to write? And it's a birthday, it's somebody had it's a new intern, it's, hobbies that we have, or here's us at the annual holiday party. None of those things are inherently bad, but you just really have to overlay this lens of what do our customers really care about. Consumers are selfish. We are all selfish when it comes to the brands that we work with. If I go to Starbucks, I want the coffee how I want it. I'm used to getting it how I want it. I want it to be consistent. And I think that we all have trained ourselves to expect that from brands that we interact with. And so when you return to this cloud of customer concern, think about how it works. Think about what they care about and ultimately what's important to them. And it's helpful to return to the idea of the definition of content marketing. It's about informing and influencing, not advertising or selling. And we often see this. If you go to a blog, I saw a blog for a financial advisor a few months ago, and his blog post was a complete advertisement for what he was doing. And come on in and have a free consultation, and we're going to charge you less than going with Charles Schwab, and here's how that process works. Again, none of those things are inherently bad, but it's really not content marketing. It's really not meant for the customer. If you think about what we said about Jane, she wants information that helps her solve a problem. She wants it free, and she wants it now. And if you're going to just deliver her an advertisement in a blog post, that's really missing the point. Remembering the parachute moments also. Thinking about when does our customer, when do they really need us most? When are they desperate for what our product is? And if you think backwards and think about when is a customer in that position, and then what does a Google search look like to them. Those are the things that you should write about. And that's really the reason that content marketing is also called inbound marketing, is because we are not using a megaphone to shout to people and advertise. What we're doing is saying, let's contemplate the times that they need us most. Let's think about what those times look like, those parachute moments, and then how do we create content that addresses those needs in their lives. And ultimately, that's why the title of the book is found, is because I argue in the book that the goal here is to put yourself in a position to be discovered by them at that parachute moment, instead of the other way around where you're selling and interrupting. And that's very, very possible if you follow this process. Here's a couple of quick examples. I was doing a webinar a year and a half ago, and I was asked to do it, and they said, when do you want to do it? And I said, I don't know, I'll look up when best times are to do webinars. I don't know for business people if it's a Tuesday, if it's a Thursday, if it's in the morning, if it's the afternoon. I think Mondays and Fridays are bad for pretty much everything, so I Googled it. And someone who sells webinar software wrote this post, when is the best time for a webinar? They're not selling their software in this. They're saying, I think that someone who's about to give a webinar might need our software, might be typing in something like this. So that's the idea. And I actually wrote something up on this and commended them for that process, because that's how it's supposed to work. Didn't buy the software. I already had that. That was provided, but it demonstrated the point to me. Here's another one. This is a client of ours, actually, called The Photographer Within. The Photographer Within sells video tutorials and online coaching for aspiring photographers. And so on their blog, they are working on answering questions, some mainstream questions, some that are a little bit out there, like tips for photographing snowflakes. Not something I would type in, but they have analyzed their audience and know their audience enough to know that that's a conversation point. So they said, why don't we write something on this? So, so that's the goal, is to think a little bit backward about how this interaction works.